Hello. Let's begin. Usual warm-up before the actual brains. This puzzle doesn't seem to be a puzzle at all, as usual. I think any puzzler worth his salt would not agree this is actually a puzzle. What did I just do? What even did I... I'm confused. Whatever. Standard puzzle solving. Then we think of ones, and we think, and then we think, never mind the ones. 3, however, is easily found here. And then it's no longer easily found, except for here, which doesn't help for the rest. But this is a 3, actually. So that's simple enough. 6. Similar. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Is already there, and this 6 has to be here. Here. I fucking hate that. Alright, so that's 6. Wait, what's missing? Right, this one. There you go. 9 looks simple. Until you try anything else, and then you realize there's a duality, and that doesn't help. And similarly, that's a 7, so that's a 7. This is a 7. That's a 7. 4. The virtue of 4. Unclear. 8 should be very unknown as well. That's an 8. This is an 8. That's an 8. That's an 8. No. Well, yes. Definitely, actually. It has to be. Because there's nowhere else for it to be on the lower level. And similarly, this is an 8. 2. Well, that's a 2. And then that's a 2. That's a 2. It's a 2. Highest number is 5. Another 2. Finally, 1. Last number is 5. Last number is 4. 5 again. 1. 9. 5. 5. 1. 1. 1. 4. 9. 9. 5. 4. Not bad. Good start. And we begin. Okay, so with this puzzle, there is no direct first number that is just obvious it must be clicked, but we can consider the 4 and think of where it could be. Well, it can't be a lot of places except for here, here, and here, which leaves these places, which is something, but maybe nothing. 2's are similar. 1 is also anywhere, and such is everything. All weird. This block has a 6 and 2 positions. 3 positions. Which makes me look vertically, which makes me realize that if there is only these 2 positions, meaning no side positions, this cannot be a 6. So that's a first elimination. Nice, as they say. So the first number we find is an anti-number, or a couple of anti-numbers. Interesting. Or did I find the number? No. Okay. How about this? There's an 8 there, because that is, no, that's a 9. Whatever. There's a 9 there, which means we have one space for alternate of everything else. Well, at least we found that. And that is our first number. Somehow. If 8, 7, 2, 4, 2... Okay, this one's weird because blah blah blah. Again, we see a 9, so that's solved. Dum-dum. There's only one 9 in this box, so that's solved. Sweet. Then we have 9s in the bottom, which preclude these ones, which doesn't help anything. So let's switch numbers. Go back to 2 for some reason. 2 is a lot of places except for it must be in this row, meaning it cannot be in this top row. Good elimination. 5 is at the top. That's already understood. 7, 6 cannot also be 7, 6 without it being compromised. So therefore, if those two are 7 and 6, the remainder is 5, and the remainder, again, is 1. Eliminating before even. And similarly, that doesn't tell us anything else about where the 2, the 7, or the 6 are. But if it must be one of these, Well, it doesn't tell me anything else. But that's something. And what does it give us for the rest? Well, we have 7-2 split, which leaves this as a 4 and that as a 6. Easy. 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2. Okay, so if 7-2, 6, 7, that doesn't really eliminate it enough. And this is a 7, 5, which would mean nothing to me. The 3 is nice. It doesn't help. Similarly, 9 in the row or something. No. There's a 9 also. It doesn't matter. If 7-2, 7-2, 5-3, if 7-2 and 7-2, remove this 7-2, and then you're left with 5-3. Also, similarly, in the block, every other 7-2 has to be removed because they are already taken. So that leaves us with a 5 here. Very obvious. If 7-2, 7-2, that removes the 7-2 from here, actually. Because of the row already would have 7-2. So I can't have it here and here, for example. Leaving only 5-4, 3-4, and 3-4. Leaving remainder 3 cannot be anywhere else because it's already in the 3-4 pair. 7-2, 7-2, 8 is a trinary, so I can't reduce that anymore. And it already is, which is neat. Similar blah 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 nonsense redacted. It's 4, 4, 8, 4, 8, 6. This is the only 6 in the block, so that's easily solved. Similarly, that reduces this to the only 6 in that block, which is solved. Nice. And then 6 in the top block doesn't solve yet, but we'll get there. Did we solve anything else randomly? No. But we're making headway, so that's good. 5, 5, 3, 2, 2 in the block. If 2 must be in this section, well, duh. It's already 2 elsewhere, so it couldn't be anywhere else. If 2, 2, 2 doesn't mean 2, so that's fine. And then 2 alternate. Unclear. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 7, 4. This block of 4 only. This block of 4. Easily done. And do other numbers pop up to me? They probably will. Like 3. Which makes that 4. Which makes that 3. Nice. If 76762 and 2 elsewhere and 2 on the top, it is so binary it's crazy. It goes throughout 3 different directions and everything else. But 8 is in the block, so that's interesting. leaving the last 8 here. Meaning if it's in that column and it cannot be anywhere else to be in the column, 8 cannot be, for example, here, 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 or there. It has to be in that column. Good amount of eliminations. Very true. Very definite. I think of looking up and I see 5, 6. Well, 5 is in only 2 places here, and then there's a 6. So 7, okay, 7, 8, 2 in some configuration means almost nothing to me. So the 7, 8 and the 8, 2 and this 7, and then the 7, 8, 2, but then this is a 5, meaning that's obviously a 5. And there's no way around to think about it. So that was obvious. 782, 782, 72. Doesn't tell me anything else about the rest, because wherever the 1 goes, the other 1, blah, 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 it will collapse. This is a 4, however, now that the 5 has been collapsed. Yay! Still, it's funny how you get these ends of the chain that lead to absolutely no other insights, because they don't eliminate anything else at the same time. For example, this 5, 3, 1 mixture over here is silly, and there's a couple of them, or whatever. But then you have 7, 8, 1 with something, something, and then you think of I don't know. I have cheese nearby and slices of meat for sausages. Sausages. Not willing to binary just yet. There must be some intuition. For example, I've run out of meat. How did I run out of meat? I put in 2 pieces of meat. I just engulfed it. That's terrible. Well, at least I have cheese. Cheese is the perfect thing. Unless it's the wrong cheese. There is such a thing as wrong cheese. Okay, if 78, 782, 76, 76 doesn't mean anything. One, 6, 8, 2, 7, 1. This block is crazy. 1 in the row. Ooh, interesting. That's a limiter, but not enough. And then think about tiling the plane. If 7 must 6, which forces the other into a 1, then we have 5, 2, and 8. So that works. If 6, then 7. Now that I think about it, because of the 6-7 binary, those 6 sevens must be in those two places, right? No, not right. 6 doesn't give us any more insight. Well, no. What it does do, if I were to annoyingly binary, is that this would turn into a 7, that would turn into a 2, 6, and then that removes all that, and then we have 7, 2, 7. Oh no, I binaried and I'm actually following through with it. I hate doing this. Well, I didn't. Well, that's interesting. We have failed. Huh. What? What? How? There's 7 in 3 places, but there's not enough. There's not enough to tile the plane. There's 7 in 3 places, but there's only 3 numbers. Oh my god, I could have. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, there's a 2 there. Ah, meaning that. Fuck. I should really pay attention to which binary I'm picking, but according to this, that means we have to use the 2 here. That would leave everything else to be possible, which crosses over into this, and other reasons for solutions become relevant and happening. Yeah, we had to use the last number. I should always think of tiling the plane. That's a 9. That's a 6. My bad. At least I found it. That's a 5, obviously. This is the only 8. Now I'm having to find things? That doesn't make any sense. Actually having to do work on my puzzle? Three, nine, 7, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 3, 1. A single binary found us that we have to use a 2, which if I was looking at the 2 earlier, I would have found anyway, and it didn't take me long to do it. So now we go to hard. We immediately find nothing. No crazy individual numbers in this puzzle as well. In the block, a 9. Ironically, there are 2 9s. Of course there are. Only 1 1 though. That's the first easy number. Nice. If 8, 2, 3, and 7 if 8, 2, 3, and 7, 2, imagine we did 7, 2, or 7, 3, and 7, 2, 3 leaves 8, right? And then the remainder must be on the other side. But then imagine we did 2, and suddenly we have not enough numbers to tile the plane, I don't think. Let me think. Oh, we do. Well, now we just did a binary as our first move. That's not good. But it could lead something together. Is that an 8? Yeah. Okay. 4. Crazy. I can't even begin to think that that is correct, but it seems to be correct so far. That's a 4, which is a number I at least found 1. And then 8 in the column, 6 in the column. Well, wait, that's a 9. Notion of reduction, that's a 2, 5. And similarly, blah, blah, blah. Well, that turns it into 1, obviously. And then if 2, 3, 9, I don't know. Oh, that's a 5. That's a lot of discovered numbers all of a sudden. Or so it would seem until it decides to brick me, which I doubt I would enjoy very much. Not very much, at least. That's a 5. Only 9. And binary, trinary, quad. Sorry. That's a 1. Leaving the 5, leaving the 2, leaving the 8, and it all just comes crumbling down. What's the number supposed to be? It's a 3. That's the 2. I mistyped. Shut up. 6, 2, another 2. 7, 1. How did I start with a binary that correctly solved the puzzle? I'm sorry, what? I used a single deduction after the binary solved the puzzle. I'm sorry. I can't for the life of me figure out how I did that. It's not incorrect. That's the thing. It's actually solved. That's insane. I don't deserve that. Holy crap. Do you think I deserve that? I did a binary as my first move, and then, which means picking between two states. It was correct, and then the entire rest of the puzzle just kind of dissolved in front of me. Whereas instead of I usually spend 20 to 30 minutes on a hard. Come on. Either I'm lucky, or that wasn't a hard puzzle. I'm not going to conflate this video any longer than it already is. That was crazy. And to this day, the harder puzzle, which is don't use the candidate system to do a medium, I have yet to accomplish. It just, I mean, that was as fast as I am to do candidate easy, but only because I did a binary, which I feel it's either like intuitive deduction to just try going somewhere and see where it leads you, or and that might be the actual way that people solve these puzzles, but holy crap, that's never usually my first move. Although I've seen me solve these puzzles so fluidly before. Whatever. That's it. We're done. Don't know what you expected. Stay tuned for next time. We'll take 2 hours to do everything.